I think we've never sunk to this low in the history of this country. Maybe we can go back, was it 2012 or around 2014 there, where it really went down under the leadership then of the governor of Central Bank, who is the current CS right now.
Not entirely, if
I may remember.
The numbers are big, but the percentage change, I don't think it's been the biggest even in the last 10 years.
It's not big.
We have come from 126 to about 145. That's about 20 shillings. It's about 1/6 of 120. That's about 16% decline. I don't know if that's big. I don't know if it's been the biggest for anybody who has observed that.
In the recent history, I haven't really seen the dollar at this particular. Maybe the sterling
level is a big decline, 140 something. But the movement from where it has been to where it's gone, I don't know if it's the biggest in the last 10 years.
I think we need to look at it from where was it in January 2022?
Yes.
Yeah,
that may be one.
Neighborhood of 110. Now, if you head it to 145 now. And of course, when these things start happening, it starts snowballing, and it becomes a geometrical progression, not no longer linear progression, because also people start holding dollars.
Yes.
So, is there anyone who can say that I'll put my finger on where it's going to be next 2 months? Is there help coming? So, if you look at that spread between 110 last year and today, 100, as Business Daily Store is saying, 145. Look at the raw materials that were bought last year. The prices have not significantly changed because you just need to look at inflation. So this is a very, very serious issue. 80%, as I mentioned, of raw materials are imported. Now, the problem now is not even the exchange rate, is availability. Because manufacturers are willing to now to take whatever is in the market, but it's not there. So you get to a point where when you go to the shelves, there'll be no manufactured goods.
This is a time when
IMF is a ticking time bomb for a country like ours. But again, it is also good to mention this is global. Okay, with the tightening or rising of interest rates in the U.S., mopping up excess dollars in the market, and because of that, we got hit. It becomes a double whammy for us. Because the little that we export, like tea, for instance, that really contributes to our dollar, coffers. Pakistan also is the same problem. The LCs that you get out from Pakistan, you cannot present to any bank. So that aggravates the problem. We cannot export because our destination markets have the same problem, and we cannot generate enough. Because if you look at how our economy exports are structured, is heavily dependent on horticulture and tea, for instance. That's about 44%. Now, if tea is coughing because of the destination markets, then you can see where the challenge, where we're headed.
Patrick, did we have also Central Bank having the head in the sand regarding the dollar situation? Because this is not the first time. I think we've been talking about it since last year, December, that there is a dollar shortage in the country, and they came and stoutly denied there's all is okie-dory, nothing. People should not be panicking. Now we're here. People who have actually been cushioning themselves, but now we're in a crunch. What has been the role of Central Bank in trying to even stabilize the situation? And also, these are exogenous issues that sometimes it's way over beyond also Central Bank.
The role of the Central Bank is to be sort of the cool-headed person in a storm. That's their role. So they can't shout
you be in
whatever
denial.
it is. Yeah?
Cool-headed.
No, I think they're not in denial. The statements they made were what you call non-committal statements. You don't say we are in trouble or we are not in trouble. You say we're in control, right? So that is a non-committal statement. It just sits you right in the middle. We're in control, right? We are doing the macro things that are needed to be done to stabilize the dollar, etc. That's the role of the central bank. They don't say we're in trouble, because the minute they do that, you have a run, yeah. And if they say that everything is okay, we've got a lot of dollars and everything else, which they did say at one point and then stopped saying it.
Yes.
Right? They stopped saying it very quickly. I think the central bank can only play with the cards, with the cards, with the hand that has been dealt. And the macro economics outside the country, the global economics, have dealt the central bank a raw deal. They have very little wiggle room in this country, and as we just heard, the two crops or three items take up almost 50% of our foreign exchange. Now, if you talk about the corporate world, you try and ensure that you're not dependent on 2 or 3 items. You should try and spread your risk in terms of what you do. So this country really needs to look at different things, because one, we rely on horticulture and tea as the 2 main dollar earners, yeah, and then obviously you got the diaspora. I think my Shyam was waiting here to sort of jump in. Yeah?
Actually, I was wondering. 50%.
Yes. And the diaspora is also big. Now you have 3 streams bringing in dollars. Any of those affected, this country is in trouble. So, sitting where as the central bank and sitting as a current government, the drive should be to diversify our sources of dollars, such that if one gets affected, you've still got the others, and you're then able to stabilize the dollar in the country. That is where somewhere like the US, China, all these countries, because of the diversification of the economy and the exports and whatever is coming in, the time it takes for a major currency change to hit the economy is very long.
Yes.
It's like a super tanker or a juggernaut, which takes time to turn, right? And we need to have an economy that is equivalent to that. But the way we sit at the moment, we are very, very vulnerable as a country, because we only rely on 3 sources for our dollars. Yep. And at the moment, 2 of them are hit not only by internal issues, but also by the economies, the external economies. Tea, horticulture, people are not buying as much as they used to, right? So yeah, so the central bank the central bank governor is sitting there. He's been dealt a very raw deal, a very raw hand, and he has to cope the best way he can. And at the moment, it is the dollar going up, the exchange rate, the dollar, the Kenyan shilling going down. That really is the reality, and we have to live with it.
Yeah. I just wanted to apologize, for diaspora, because I think it is how it is recognized, because you go to KNBS and you're looking at the data leading exports. Diaspora doesn't. Maybe it's categorized elsewhere, but it's one of the major influence.
Is right. Actually, not just one of them, but the main, because when it does twice as much as we get from all the top 3 agricultural products, actually maybe 3 times, because those bring $2.4 billion in a good year, while diaspora do 4.2 billion. So it's double. So it is really the main, the sheriff in town, so to speak. But that notwithstanding, we cannot deny the fact that Kenya shilling has done very badly over the past 1 year. I think that's not something that we can dispute. As to whether we could have done better from CBK perspective or government perspective, I remember while an undergraduate student, we used to be told that when you are a district officer, DO, at that time for the older generation, we had what was called shifter and the bandits. That if you are a district officer, even when you are running from the shifters, okay, you tell the world that no, there is no shifter, but that time you are running away from them. So as government officers, it's expected that you would say certain things even when things are not so good. Of course, also to inspire confidence. But having said that, what I wonder about the BAL is whether could there be some economic sabotage? Because I do know those that are in the opposition are very powerful economically in this country. To what extent are we pulling also levers so that we make it a bit uncomfortable for the government? But having said that, I think we must think outside the box. In terms of particularly, maybe this is where National Treasury and the central bank need to come in. Why are we not thinking of hedging our currency using our natural resources? Patrick here would know better than I. We have immense amounts of resources underground. Even lithium, probably now the most invaluable asset. Why are we not doing that to hedge our currencies? In fact, I had opportunity to talk with one of the key people in the mining sector, and I am alive to the fact that there's a lot of skill and knowledge, Kenyan skill and knowledge outside the country and within the country in this sector that we are not tapping. Other countries like Australia and others, what they have done is that usually the miners, when you ask them to pay tax and all, you don't get too far. But what those countries have done, which I think should be a policy consideration, is that whatever resources, minerals they have, they sell to government. Government buys all of it. Okay, you don't pay any tax, but let government buy it and use that to hedge the Kenya shillings. I think would have gone a long way. But I think we are being just idle in our thinking. We are not coming up with the new ways to stabilize our Kenya shillings. But also, the concern is not only on the dollar. Even at the securities market, Safaricom shares have hit the rock bottom lowest.
Indeed.
I mean, that's something to worry. On the one hand, there is a bit of a foreign plight from the stock securities market. But for me, I don't consider it a big problem because I worry when I'm told 60 to 70% of the assets at the stock exchange are foreign owned. Why don't Kenyans own part of the pie? Maybe this is the right time.